Welcome to the Commentary Podcast. Just a quick disclaimer, none of these opinions reflect the greater Phillipian board, but are our own opinions. Today we're discussing Big Blue versus Big Red, and comparing Phillips Academy Andover and Phillips Exeter Academy. I have three wonderful guests joining me today. We're going to start with names, introductions, and if you applied to Exeter and or Andover and how you felt about each school before you got in, just to make clear any biases before we start a conversation. So I'll start. My name is Micheal. I am a lower or 10th grader at Andover, and I only applied to Andover, and that was because I started the application process in January, and basically every school except Andover makes their applications due February or January 15th, and Andover's is due February 1st. And so that just meant I had to only apply to one school. So,
hi, my name is ND. I'm a senior from Iowa City. I applied to Andover and Exeter. And I chose Andover because I'd done the Andover summer program like a couple years before. And I really liked that and it was just kind of like familiar. Also, Miss Malik is super nice and he was my mental officer, so he was here. I think another big part of my reason is because when I did my Exeter tour, it was really rainy. And when I did my Andover tour, it was super sunny. So I was like, this place is just so much better, obviously. But yeah.
I can go next. I'm Paige. I'm a lower at Exeter. And I applied to both Exeter and Andover, and I got into both. But I ended up choosing Exeter because it's literally a 5-minute drive from my house. And I applied to both as a day student. So Andover would be like a 50-minute drive if traffic isn't awful. So Exeter just ended up being like the more convenient option. So
hey guys, I'm Sara. I'm a senior at Exeter, and I applied only to Exeter, and that's because I saw that Andover had a church, and I was like, and that they met in the church, and I was like, no way. I went to a Catholic school for 9 years before Exeter, and I was like, I do not want to go to a church for another 4 years. I was like, I'm idiot. And then since coming to Exeter, that has changed. And now I'm in the church every week for meditations.
So our first or our second question really is, why is your school better? And is Exeter honestly number one in the country per niche? And I guess building off of that, what makes a school better than the other, especially when you're comparing two of the best high schools in the world? You know, is it athletics, academics, alumni, etc.? So anyone can take that to start.
I'll say what makes a school better is a combination of everything. I think the main focus is academics because at the end of the day, it is a school. But I think that everything that you do other than however many 4 or 5 hours of classes, like the majority of your day is spent doing something else, not including homework. But like there's a lot of school for its main purpose. And then there's also the dorms that you sleep in. There's the food that you eat. There's the athletics and the clubs that you go to. So I think that everything is included should be included in what makes a good school. And I think that Exeter is better than Andover because our facilities are much better. I've heard horror stories about Andover dorms in particular. And if you take one walk around, you can see it. Also, I think that the Exeter was the first to do Harkness, and now and Andover copied us. I respect it, but I think that doing it first says a lot about how much pride and how well executed it can be because we have so much pride for our Harkness method. So
you know what Andover did first?
What?
School. we were founded before you guys, and your library looks like a parking lot. Unfortunately, I've heard that your food is quite good though, so that's No, I mean from the
She's
outside.
in her library.
I know, but like from the outside.
I have to agree with that. I have to agree.
But
Okay, but something that we have is like a downtown that's literally in the school is in downtown, but at Andover it's like a 20-minute walk downtown, and on the way back it's like uphill. So
okay, well, I don't think it's like from my dorm at least, like it's 5 minutes from Duncan. But like, wait, what is that in the middle of the library? Is it a flower?
It's a sculpture because we value art.
Oh, you value art? We actually
Yeah.
have a statue of a strange looking metal pole that like everyone called. Okay, I don't know if you've heard this Andover lore, but like there was like a statue made to commemorate like some dude, right? And it was on the Great Lawn for a little bit, but it looks unfortunately phallic, right? So for like years, like whenever people are like driving by like Andover students, right? They'll shout out their car, "Cat boner!" Like it's not even a joke. It's so entertaining every single time. I mean, better that than slurs, but yes, cat
Yeah.
boner.
Yeah. Yeah, I do agree with you, Sarah. I do think it is a combination of things. I will say I went to Exeter for winter AE last year, and I was very happy I was an Andover student because I thought our campus was better. I thought it was more spread out. I thought it was more dynamic. I feel like, especially, like, maybe I'm just like waffling right now, but especially when you go to different clusters, like you can see the architecture is different. And so it feels like different neighborhoods. Yeah. So I think in terms of campus, I prefer Andover, but it is a very personal thing. But I do agree. It really depends on the academics, athletics, etc. And that's why I think I'm very curious as to what prompted Niche to move Exeter up to number 1. And where are we, Andy? Number 6?
We're number 4 because I don't think Andover got like 4 places worse. Like, if you really think about it.
Because I think that there's so many schools that are different. I'm just gonna take a look at them. Let's see. I think because I do know a good chunk are in the Bay Area, and I'm from the Bay Area, so I know the chief of the Bay Area. So let me take a look.
Or are you one of those Nueva kids?
I applied to Nueva, and I have heard. I think Nueva. I think that both. Just quick tangent. I know between all the schools, I think that even in regards to the rankings, there's a lot of like kind of more experimental schools such as Nueva that really prioritize like entrepreneurship, making design labs, STEAM, basically Silicon Valley.
Mhm.
You name it, it's at the school. But I think that there's so much value in being able to communicate with people. At the end of the day, you can think of a business proposal. Like if I give you 5 minutes to think of a business proposal, you can probably think of like 50 things. But if you can sell them, like that's what's going to start companies. So I think that there's something to be said about having an ability to communicate, which is why I think Harkness is so great because you have to be able to.
I will say, I heard that you do Harkness in STEM classes too, which we do not. And that sounds really, really, really difficult for, I mean, if you can justify it, for me, it's like, I think it's unnecessarily difficult, but like, can you speak to your experience of how?
I think that it can be difficult. I think that it also, a lot of times we have problems, we put them up on the board, and then we read the textbook, we do the problems, and then we learn a lot about concepts through the problems, which I think it works better for certain subjects. I will say that. For example, biology, when you're memorizing something, how are you going to put a problem up on the board? Like what? How are you supposed to do that? I think that it works really well for elective courses when you're talking about applied sciences. I think that it works well for physics, where the whole point is just problem solving, and that's really what you're teaching, as opposed to like gravity's gravity. Like, you got two numbers, it's pretty simple, but how you apply it can get really complex. So I think it's helpful to think through those kinds of problems. But I will say for biology, it's lecture courses would be better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for math, I think it works well if like you're a math person, and kind of like you got to have the intuition, but it can feel like you're just kind of expected, if the intuition isn't there, it can feel like you're expected to have the intuition to do problems that you've never seen before and that are pretty complex without that kind of like, if your mind just doesn't like work in numbers, it can be tough. But if it does, then I think that Harkness is better and more fun because you're able to think about numbers.
Yeah, and also adding on to that, like especially in math, when you come across like a problem that everyone left blank on their homework, you all like do it as a class, and like the teacher won't immediately go up and like put the right answer up. It'll be like, hey, what do you guys think about this? Like, let's work through this together. And so then you'll have like a conversation about it and the possible different ways to like solve that problem. And then you end up finding out new concepts that you didn't know about, maybe possibly new theorems that you'd never heard about before, but now they actually like make sense. And then your teacher will like butt in, and then they'll be like, yeah, this is like actually the right way to do it. And this theorem, this concept can be applied here. But then, hey, if you look back at this problem, it also shows up here. So I think it's really helpful when, in terms of like problem solving, like Sarah said, and just like really getting like a group like dynamic and teamwork.
Just another question based off of that. Like, our STEM classes are not like entirely just like talk at you, right? There's still like an aspect of group work. Like, the difference between Harkness and like, for example, like a math teacher go like explaining the concept and then saying, all right, go break into groups and do it. And like interspersing with like help to each group, like would that be more or less helpful? Because like the smaller group size and like the, I guess, more individualized attention to each group.
High Q, I think I'd prefer that, because we've had classes where that happens, where we present our problems, and it's kind of like, if everybody knows how to do it, then like we're kind of like wasting time. But it's more, I think it is really helpful, especially for hard things. Once I got to like a specific level, I'd just be like writing down some ideas for each problem, and I'd be like, yeah, like I don't know how to go from here. But if I had like that guidance to be able to be like, okay, one key puzzle piece, now I know how to fit that in, and then we can go from here.
Yeah, and I think to your point, it definitely depends on the person. I'm not a math person by any stretch, and so I would feel very left behind. I feel like if we were supposed to figure it out ourselves, because I'd throw in the towel. I don't know how, and I'd sit there and watch other people do it. So I guess learning from the teacher helps me because I see how I'm supposed to do it, and I have a hard time coming up with ways to solve it myself. So the next question is, what makes the other school better? And you can take this any way you want.
Your music recording studio. As somebody who's like big into like music production and whatnot, like that was like the biggest thing that was swaying me towards Exeter, because you guys just have crazy facilities for that. Andover is like, it exists, but that's about where it ends. But over the over the course of my time here, I've like tried to like build it up. I think we've done a pretty solid job. Big things this year. Andover, WPAA, but yeah, that's probably the best thing about Exeter for me, at least.
On top of that, I love Exeter's sport complex building facility, because we went for winter AE and I did not have to step outside once. The hockey rinks were there, and then you'd walk 10 feet and there were basketball courts, and then you like continue walking, there were volleyball courts. And it's like upstairs there's more sports stuff, and downstairs there's a parking garage. I just thought it was brilliant, because at Andover this winter AE, people will have to walk outside from building to building. And it's like, I guess part of that's because we've been building a lot of new buildings, so we can't just like build on top of a building that already exists. But yeah, I just thought whoever thought of that at Exeter was really, really smart.
I think I think we had one donor that like pulled through,
Yeah.
had one big building that we kind of were able to attach from there. So it worked out well. I was actually going to say that I think that I saw your pool getting built and I'm going to go swim today. And I was like, oh, it'd be nice. I do like your guys' pool. It's a snazzy pool. And I think that there's a lot of like school spirit, I will say. And I think that you guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you built that up after COVID. Because I think that my prep year, nobody would go to EA because it was like Exeter against Exeter. Like, so there was basically no sports games to go to. And I think that as we kind of transitioned into like full blown EAs again, it had lost some traction. So I think that you guys have a ton of people who are like, let's go Andover at EA at AE, and I love it.
And one thing I will say that you guys have a lot better is food. And I like your dining hall better. Like when I went and toured, your two levels of your dining hall. I really like that because right now one of our dining halls is under construction. They're on separate halves of campus. And I just really liked when I went to your dining hall, it was all in one. And I liked your food a lot better.
I agree with that because actually, when I went to Winter EA, I went to your dining hall and I didn't love the food as much, but you guys have a soft serve machine, which is
It's not always working.
still the fact it's there is way better. I don't think we could ever get a soft serve machine here.
Do you think that like why not? Would they just be like, no?
No, we
Like-
used to have one, but like it was maybe like after COVID, but
Yeah.
a year before, I think they got rid of it.
COVID axed a lot of things on campus.
But Sarah, just your point of school spirit. So I am a blue key head, right? Which is like school spirit leader, and it's like passed down. I don't know if you guys have a similar thing with like Big Red Zone.
Yeah, like Big Red Zone and Red Bandits.
Red Bandits, yeah.
Red Bandits.
So
That's what they're called.
yeah.
Not really giving your school like a good look in that one.
We didn't come up with it.
But yeah, like it's kind of like me and the job of me and the other blue key heads to kind of like inspire school spirit, go to games, cheer at games throughout the year. We're kind of just like also slapped on like all Andover like magazines and like we're like basically like the poster children of like the school because we dress up wacky every Friday, like they take pictures of us. But yeah, it's like our main job is to like kind of like build hype. Spirit Week is this week. We had to plan that. So just like as somebody who's kind of seen the whole arc from COVID to now, I think it was just a matter of time. Like people were gonna find like the school and school spirit. It was just like having the people to like make it seem cool or like make it seem like everyone is doing it. And I think that's what happened.
So our next question is, what is the benefit of healthy competition between Andover and Exeter, whether it be between students or administration to administration, etc.?
I'll take this one first. I think that competition is really great to get people excited, not only to support the athletes. I know that it means a lot to have people go to games and to have people there to support. As somebody, like I did JV soccer for the past like 3 years. And whenever people would, like we'd have like 20, 30 people on the sidelines of our JV soccer game on like a Wednesday because people wanted to go and support us. And I think that meant a lot to, even if it was to have one game, people set time aside to go support other athletes. And I think that's great. I think it makes you feel pride for your school, which I think is really important because I think that especially given how difficult it can be to be able to say, like being in the midst of almost before finals week, it can be hard at the end of the term. So we're able to have something that gives us energy, that gets us all going.
Yeah, I do agree. I think that I don't have any specific examples at hand, but I have heard of examples where Exeter's administration will do something and Andover will be like, oh, that's a great idea. And at least the student body, when we're advocating for something, a policy change or something, we always use Exeter as an example because we are so similar. And so it's like I think that allows both schools to push each other to be their best and to push each other to keep progressing. And on the flip side, what are the pitfalls of such excessive and oftentimes cutthroat rivalry?
I couldn't honestly say that like there is a major difference between like I can't honestly say that there's like genuine bad blood between the two schools, because like I feel like when you meet somebody that like went to Exeter, you're like, oh my god, you go to Exeter.
Yeah.
Oh, I go to Andover. It's like it's kind of like a fun rivalry thing. The only pitfall for me is just like procrastinating homework to go to games, because I really want to see them, especially when they're here.
I guess the only thing I can think of too is like when we stole the Exeter flag last fall.
So funny. Oh my god.
Was that the actual flag? Like the actual flag?
The actual flag is on top of our academy building.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was our pep rally flag.
I think it's I think that like it can like offer an avenue for like at our Red Bandits and Big Red Zone kind of like intro meeting, the administration looked at each one of us in the eye and they're like, we're supporting Exeter, not dissing Andover. Because I think that it can offer like an avenue for some people to be like lead chants or steal on both ends, like
yeah.
like steal flags, like go do that. And I think that because it's all most of it is in good fun, it still feels more like comical, like, oh, like you got us, or like, haha, we got you, as opposed to like we genuinely like
Hate you.
like any hatred.
Yeah, and like if it ever does become disrespectful, then it just like loses all the fun.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're being hateful and like rude, and it's just not fun for people to watch. It's fun when it's friendly competition. It gets not entertaining. It gets like, why would you do that? Like, if it ever gets hateful, which it like never happens, but like if it were to.
And to ring in AE or EA weekend, what is your favorite tradition or chant that happens?
It used to be number 6, but
number 6. Yeah.
Definitely Saturday classes is up there. I'm so sorry for you guys.
It's like 10 times a year. Like
it's not that bad.
That's 10 times more than us, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
I think that my favorite time was just like the football game. The lights, it's just the lights. It's completely dark out, and it's like the last thing of the night, and it's the moment of like school unity. We're all like chanting the same chants and doing all the same stuff. Like that's probably the most fun. There's like a euphoric quality to it. That really quickly, just the EA, I think it was volleyball last year. That
was so close.
That was like overtime and like 1-1. That was a good game together.
Boys basketball last winter. That was so
like pep rally will never not be fun because it gets the energy up and you're just like hyped, and then when you wake up the next day it's games and you're playing and you have fun, and then you're like, yeah, let's go Big Red for you guys, let's go Big Blue. Like it just gets the energy up, and it's like the best time ever.
And I don't know about you guys, but after the games we come back to campus and we have Abbott dance, which is like the biggest dance of the year or something. So like that's just another like added thing to the agenda of the day. It just creates so much hype.
We have a fall formal tonight. That's kind of like a preface for Spirit Week.
I think this is the first year that we're doing it, because last year there was like COVID and then flu, and then this is the first year that we're having that fall formal. I think it's going to be super big amongst the preps and lowers who are boarders. So I think that it'll be very successful. I and many other seniors are also going to be there, because it's like, what else are we going to do on a Saturday night? Like, I think that it will be a fun one, and it kind of kicks off like Sunday. We have the bonfire, Spirit Week, EA. It's a perfect like one thing each day to kind of keep that spirit going.
Okay. Thank you guys for joining this episode. To our listeners, thank you for listening to this episode, and make sure to go to our YouTube channel and listen to more. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.